Now, in our second segment today on Sports Check, we're joined by Steven Mwaniki, another familiar face. He is an athletics coach, and he's here to talk about, well, the return of the Diamond League tournament. It's actually one of the tournaments that most athletes, like participating in for their own reasons. Mwaniki, thank you very much for once again gracing us here on Sports Check. So maybe we can start by going by what has been happening. Are we ready to participate in the Diamond League?
Yeah, we are somehow ready because we've not been having much activities here in the country. And athletes must train and also compete. That is the most important part of athletics life. So if you don't compete, then you cannot be competitive. And that is the undoing for us. But in Europe and America, athletes have been training, though with the strict restriction of COVID-19. But here we are yet now to start our training. But some have been doing their own training in preparation for events which we anticipate that we'll be having events here in the country once we get the clearance from the Ministry of Sports and also Ministry of Health.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, of course, being an individual sport, as you mentioned, some have been training. It's just a matter of, running and all that. But let's talk about something I need as a coach and as a stakeholder, of course, in the athletics world. Is it indeed confirmed that Conseslus Kipruto is set to miss out?
I saw a tweet from his Twitter account. He said that he's COVID-19 positive. And that is very unfortunate for us because most of us were waiting to see him in Monaco. He was in the start list, and we thought that he'll be there. But it's unfortunate it has happened, and this is what is happening in the country, and it's unfortunate. Okay. Yeah.
Now, let's have a look at what will be happening in Monaco on Friday, and that is the 14th. In the 3,000 meter steeplechase, the one that, of course, Conseslus Kipruto was the favorite for us Kenyans. We still have another Kenyan participating on the entry list. We have Leonard Bet Kipkemoy. But then again, he will come up against great competition. As you can see, last year's champion, Gednet Wale, is in the lineup. You have Soufiane Bekali of Morocco and rather Ethiopian Lamecha Girma. Leonard Bet, from his progress so far, what do you think his chances are in this particular race?
His chances is 50-50 because they haven't been competing. El Bakali is one of the top steeplechasers in the world, and also the Ethiopians are coming up. They are proving to be good in steeplechase. So this is going to be an open race because most of them have not been competing, and our athletes, especially here in Kenya, they have not been competing. Maybe they've been training, but you see, competition is a different ball game. You can be training, but now you haven't been competing. That is something else. But we hope that Leonard will be able to match up the stiff competition offered by El Bakali and the Ethiopians.
And going by last season's performance and other competitions last year, besides just the Diamond League, do you think this is the year that, let's say, the likes of Soufiane El Bakali is going to, let's say, regain his form? Because he actually has the personal best time out of the four favorites that I've mentioned. But then again, the Ethiopians, the likes of, Getnet Wale and Girma have been, coming up in the discipline in the 3,000 meters steeplechase. Do you think Bakali's performance last season proves, to be a threat in this year's Diamond League?
Yeah, El Bakali is a Diamond League is a Diamond League champion, and he has been doing very well in Diamond Leagues. With the championship, major championship, sometimes he falters and gets a bronze or silver. But with the Diamond League, he's been performing well. So we think El Bakali and the Ethiopians are the ones who are going to offer us stiff competition in this event on Friday. Yeah.
Well, another face to look out for is our very own Helen Obiri. And Monaco provides, another chance for Obiri to go toe-to-toe with, Hassan Sifan, last year's champion, and Well, we've not been training. That is guaranteed. But once again, in the race, Helen Obiri, Winnie Chebet, Beatrice, Chepkoech are Kenyans coming up against Hassan Sifan and Letsenbet of Ethiopia. Once again, our chances in that race.
In that race, Helen Obiri, she has a long history of winning championships and winning even titles in the Diamond League. He has a personal best of 14:18 in 5,000 meters, but his son Hassan, she's one of the top middle and long distance runner, and that was proven last year in Diamond League, in the World Championships. That is where we were able to see how tough she is, but. Still, we are going back to what I told you earlier, that without competition, it becomes difficult for us to be able to predict. So the main contention will be between his son, Hafan. She'll be competing with the Kenyans. Beatrice Chepkoech, as steeplechase, are now going to a longer event, which is 5,000. She's also a strong candidate in that event. So the main competition will be between the Ethiopians, his son Ifan Hassan, and also Beatrice and Helen Obiri. So it's not easy for me to put on Kenyans, say that they can do something, because with less competition, we are in jeopardy, we are in danger. But we hope that everybody is in the same fitness, and our resilience and competitiveness will be able to carry the day for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Coach Mwaniki, before we analyze some of the other races that will be taking place on Friday, let me ask you, as a coach, because you mentioned the issue of Chepkoech, as a coach, after how long, which is the period that you can advise an athlete to actually stick to a particular discipline without having to, let's say, test waters in be it shorter distances or longer distances? Because last year as much as Helen Obiri is the 5,000 meters champion, we've seen her excel at that discipline. We also have seen her sometimes participating in the 10,000 meters. So maybe after how long can you advise an athlete to stick to a particular race before graduating or changing the type of race that they participate in?
Yeah, that depends with the coach and the athletes, and it depends with the training that they have done. If you look at Helen Obiri last year, she came from the World Cross Country, and the World Cross Country is 10-kilometer grueling event, and that was an impetus for her to make a decision to run the 5 or 10,000 meters. And the 10,000 meter is a slower version of the 5,000, because 5,000 is like a sprint.
True.
And 10,000 is a bit longer, and depends with the lapping and all that. So for her to attempt both events was unfortunate for us, but also she was able to do well. So it is neither here nor there. She can be able to go into both events and do better, like what you saw with his son, what she did in the 5 and 10,000 meters.
Sure.
We're also trying our luck to see whether we can be able to match up and get something. But it's a bit tricky when you go to a competition and you want to run 2 events. It's difficult, it's tiring, and even it demands a lot from you. So the most important thing is for the coach to gauge and assess the athlete, and then make a decision. And then especially in a country like ours here, where we have many athletes, it is always good to stick with one event, which is very important. Because if somebody is good in 5,000, we have somebody in 10,000. Unlike other countries whereby, for example, Hassan was running for Netherlands. They don't have a 5,000 and 10,000 meter runner.
Yeah.
So she had to go both events. Yeah. So for us here, we need to look into it critically, and the coaches must make sure that the event that they enter an athlete is the event that they think the athlete will be able to get something. And doubling is not to me is not good, because we have more long distance runners in this country. So it was unfortunate, but all in all, she can be able to run 5 or 10,000. Because you see, the training in 5 and 10 is almost the same. Because this one is in endurance and this one is speed. But still it's so taxing when you're going for a major championship like the World Championship. So for the coaches, we have to make sure that we give the athletes comes first, and we make a decision that just allow the athlete to run one event, and that is important.
But ultimately it becomes the athlete's decision.
Yeah, but you see, the athletes also depend on their coaches, what they are told by their coaches. The coaches make the decision for them. And you will play a very big role in guiding the athletes, and that is very important. Yeah.
And is it fair to assess or come to the conclusion that finally, at the end of it, ultimately, age becomes the major factor when it comes to switching, the kind of race you're participating in? Is it fair to assess that? Because we've had the likes of, even here in Kenya, our very own Sam started from the 10,000 meters and slowly graduated to the marathon, for example. You have the likes of Mofara also has done the same. So would it be fair to say that age becomes the ultimate factor when switching races?
Yeah, it is very important. Also in coaching, there is what we call the training age. For how long have you been training for a certain event? So it is important when you want your athlete to move from one event to another event. It's very important that you look at the training age. Make sure that the athlete has been able to exhaust where he or she has been participating in, and then the growth comes after a certain period. For example, if you look at our Kipchoge just started from 1,500, went to 5,000. Gradually, he went to 10,000, and then finally went to marathon. It's unfortunate here we have very young guys running the marathon, which is the end of it. They're always going at the end of an event, which is not good. So we need to go gradually. Take time, develop your speeds at the 1,500 meters, go to 5,000, and then gradually you go to 10, and then finally the marathon, which is also the ultimate and grueling event for any athlete.
Yeah.
So it's important that we manage this growth of our athletes. The training age is very important for how long this person has been training, and that is what brings us to be able to managing an athlete's affair is very important. And let's not be pushed by what people are getting in marathon. They are going for quick money. But if your training age is not enough to take the athlete to that part of the event, then definitely disaster will strike. Either you get an injury or the athlete will leave the scene very early. You've seen some of our top athletes, the young athletes, who have been in marathon maybe for 5 or 6 years, and they've gone. But you can see Eliud is there. He's almost approaching 40, but he's still there and very strong. So we need to look into that. Yeah.
Okay, now let's get back to the analysis bit of it, if you don't mind. In Monaco, another race that Kenyans are used to, watching a lot, going by how we perform, how good we perform, is the 1,500 meters men, whereby Timothy Cheruiyot, of course, won the last round at Brussels Diamond League last year. But then again, he is coming up against a number of guys who've been coming up lately who've been showing great potential. For example, you have the Polish, that is Marcin Lewandowski, and again, the Ingebrigtsen brothers. And there was a challenge earlier this year, despite the coronavirus. There was a virtual challenge between Team Cheruiyot and Team Ingebrigtsen. And, well, we obviously can't use that challenge to judge how the performance will be. So going by last year's performance, that's the best we can do at the moment. And also remember last season, he also came, he had a lot of heat from the brothers, that is Jakob and Philip. So going by this season and prior to COVID, of course, how can you gauge this race?
This race is a tough one because the Ingebrigtsen, Philip and Jakob, these guys are at the top of their shape because during the Impossible Games, we could see they were running pretty fast. They were in shape. Unlike our athletes here, we were talking about the altitude and all that. But if you do your own assessment as a coach, those guys were in a better position they were competitive.
Yeah.
So with our Timothy Cheriot, we can't talk about last year. We talk about this year. It's going to be a battle to fight these two brothers, the Philip and Jacob Ingebristin. These are a tough one. Lewandowski is coming from 800 meters and is going to 1500 meters. This is a different ball game because this is an endurance event and depends how you've prepared yourself. So Lewandowski is not a big threat. The only thing that matters is how fast the Ingebristin and our Timothy will be running the pace. If the pace is high, then they will be able to destroy Lewandowski, because I know Lewandowski is an 800-meter runner. And after 1,000 meters, the last 500 meters depends with the person who has more endurance and person who is more prepared psychologically and all that. So the main contention or the main event will be between the world champion, the current world champion, Timothy Cheriot, the Ingebristin brothers, Philip and Jacob. These are the people we have to contain. Lewandowski is a surprise package. He always hangs behind. He's a tricky guy.
Yeah.
He normally hangs behind.
And then uses his speed.
And if you slow the event and you let him hang until the last 400, then he can pull a surprise.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Vincent Kete, Timothy Sain, how do you think the performance will be?
I think Timothy Sain is there as a, I don't want to say that, but I think he's there as a pacemaker. He's going to make sure that he guides the pace, because he's been training with Timothy Cheriot. So, and even Vincent. So these are teammates, and maybe they will work towards ensuring that Timothy wins this event. And it's very important for us, for Timothy to be able to win this event. Though it's grueling, and it will show the difference between those people who have been training and those people who have been competing. That is the difference. That's the difference. So to be a 100% athlete, you have to train well and also be competitive. Yeah, that's very important.
Now, 2016 World 1500 meters champion Kumari Taki, over the weekend on Saturday, in Kericho, there was some sort of, let's say, guys were gauging their times and whatnot ahead of Monaco, the Diamond League, and Kumari Taki was actually impressive in that race, but it was a 1,000 meters distance. But there has been, because there was speculation that he would be participating in Monaco, but then again, is there any clarification so far in regards to his visa? Because reports also, mentioned that was the reasons that most people were, mentioning him among the favorites, but that became an issue.
No, I've not. I don't know about his visa. And also looking at this morning, I was looking at the start list. He's not in the start list. Maybe he will be a late entry in that event. So it's not clear. We don't know whether he has a visa. And also, according to the start list of Monaco, maybe he'll be the late entries, but he's not in the start list.
Our first leg in Monaco this Friday, that is the 14th of August. And we did discuss discussing the 1500 meters men's race. And we mentioned that Timothy Cheriot, competition that he is expected to face mostly comes from the Ingebristin brothers, that is Philip and Jakob. Now, the third brother, of course, Henrik, will be participating in the 5,000 meters men's race. And he'll be coming up against Nicholas Kimeli, Kenya's very own Joshua Cheptegei of Uganda. And this is actually quite an interesting one, because we've had Joshua Cheptegei, the Ugandan, kind of dominating this race most times when it comes to Diamond League. And what can you say about his progress so far, Cheptegei? Should we expect him to move on to the 10,000 meters and finally just settle on the on the marathon race, as we were talking about earlier, because we've seen him sometimes even participate in the 10,000 meters where he's not as exceptional sometimes? So maybe your comment on that, and Nicholas Kimeli's point of competition against Cheptegei and Henrik.
Yeah, the competition is much on the man to watch is Cheptegei, because Cheptegei has really proved to be a long distance runner, and for him to run the 5,000 meters, I remember last year he was able to run. He became one of the top 3 athletes to run the 5,000 meters off the track on the road race, he did a 12:56, I think, or 55. And that was incredible. And for him now to run the 5,000 meters, he's a strong candidate in that event. The other person is Ingrid brother, who is also in that competition. And we also have our own Crop. There's this guy called Crop. Jacob Crop. They are neighbors in Mount Elgon. You know, we have the Mount Elgon in Uganda and the other part in Kenya. That is where Cheptegei comes from. He's in the part of Uganda. And now our Jacob Crop in Kenya. Crop is also a very strong contender. He's still a student. He's still in school. Maybe he was to do his Form 4 this year, but with COVID now, maybe next year. But he's a strong contender in that event. So we expect competition to come from for Cheptegei. Cheptegei is a guy to watch, and then Jacob Crop, Kimeli also is not bad, and then the Ingrid brother, who is also a main contender in that event. So it's an open event. With this COVID, people have not been competing, so it's not easy to pinpoint and say this is the guy to win this event.
Yes.
But it depends with the preparation and the psyche that somebody goes into that event.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in recent times, we've seen, let's say, someone who usually participates in a shorter distance, of course, trying to graduate to a longer distance. But do you think this is Cheptegei's situation is actually going to, bring a different phenomenon? Because he is a long distance runner who is participating in shorter distances. Do you think that will, of course, set a different course for most long distance runners?
Yeah, of course. But, with Cheptegei, what he has been exhibiting in his event, for example, he has won the 10,000. He's also good in 5,000. You see, for him to be able to run the 5 and 10,000, the 5 is like his speed work. But the major event or the main event is the 10,000 meters. And maybe for him to make a decision to go to either marathon and all that, that will come after the Olympics. That is where the athletes make a decision. You'll see most of these athletes who are running, some of them, those who have been going gradually, they make a decision after the Olympics. So it has been delayed until next year. Maybe we'll see him running the marathon maybe after the Olympics. But at the moment, he's a strong contender in 10,000 meters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now there is an issue. The last time you were here, we talked about, encouraging more athletes to participate in, let's say, not the so conventional, not the more orthodox races, distances rather. For example, now we have the 1,000 meters women's race in Monaco on Friday, whereby, our very own Faith Kipyegon will be participating. It is a race that distance rather normally is dominated by Laura Muir of Great Britain, and in the process of course, getting these athletes to participate in most of these distances, because I understand sometimes it helps when it comes to, let's say, the level of competition and even medals, because you've seen in these tournaments you have most Europeans really are the ones who participate in these non-conventional races. So what can you say about Faith Kipyegon's attempt to, of course, go on and participate in this race? And do you think she has a good chance, considering normally she participates in a longer distance than that?
Yeah, with Faith Chemgetich, she's strong in 1,500 meters, and doing the 3,000, that is an endurance event for her. And I tend to think that she will also do better in that event, because for you to be able to handle 1,500 meters, you must be able to develop an endurance equally, which is measured to 3,000 or 5,000 meters. You can't be good in 15 and you cannot be able to handle 3,000 and 5,000. So this is part of our build-up towards running 1,500 meters.
Okay. Now, Mwaniki, we had one more race to go before we get into the final topic today. And the 800 meters, Ferguson Rotich, Donovan Brazier versus Emil Tuka. Those are the people with the best times, really, personal bests. And once again, going by last year's performance this year, do you expect Ferguson Rotich, and even after the whole corona issue has been resolved, or rather has come to an end, all that another normal is here really, do you think that this can actually be the year that he dominates that discipline throughout in the Diamond League?
The man to watch is Donovan Bailey, the current world champion. You know, this season being with this corona, COVID-19, we haven't been competing as Kenyans. But Donovan Bailey has posted a time of 1:43. And Ferguson has not done anything. So is what I told you earlier, that this what matters in Monaco is how competitive you are. So the man to stop is Donovan Bailey. He has 1:43. Ferguson has nothing. He has no time this year. And also Tuka. Tuka is also another strong contender. So these two athletes, Ferguson, Rotich, and Donovan Bailey, Ferguson, Rotich, and Tuka, they're the ones who will be chasing Donovan Bailey because he has a 1:43. If we look at Ferguson, Rotich, last year he posted 1:42, which is pretty fast. But now we are talking about 2020, the new normal, whereby we have this thing which has affected our training and affected everything. The way we train, the way we operate is different. So it depends with whoever is ready for this event. But for me, I think Donovan Bailey is ready for this event unless something happens. Ferguson, Rotich, and Tuka, it's a game of wait and see.
Wait and see.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the other issue I wanted us to discuss, I needed your comment on this as a coach because we've gone over it time and time again, the issue of doping. 2 weeks ago, we had another incident, quite a renowned name, but why is it that we've actually never gotten to a point whereby we can say we are successfully controlling that doping pandemic also? Why is it that a case has to pop up every few months? And well, as you know, that brings a lot of concern when it comes to how the IAAF sometimes is going to treat our athletes. So why are we failing in controlling doping?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It has happened to some of our top athletes, and it's also unfortunate because this issue which has cropped up recently is about the whereabouts, whereby the athletes have to always notify the AIU their whereabouts, and I don't understand how they fail to inform the AIU their whereabouts. It's unfortunate because according to the rules, you're supposed to inform the AIU your whereabouts, and this is done daily. Where you are, for example, if I'm an athlete now, I would have told them that around this time and this time I'll be at KBC, and that is very crucial. So once I walk out of KBC, I'll find somebody waiting for me outside, maybe those who are coming to have the drug test. So it's not on drug, but the whereabouts. And this has really affected our athletes. And you've seen these top athletes who have been banned because of the whereabouts. And you are given, in a year, you are given 3 chances. If you miss 3 tests, 3 whereabouts, then that is it. You are banned for maybe 1 year or 2 years. And it's unfortunate to lose an athlete on that simple thing. With this IT technology whereby you just use your phone and just tell them where you'll be at a certain time, it's very important that our athletes should be aware of this. They should always be able to inform the AIU their whereabouts, and that is very important. About taking drugs, this is unfortunate that our athletes have been educated. Athletics Kenya has always been having seminars. Even last year we had a seminar in Eldoret, and all this thing has been done by Athletics Kenya. And each and every track event, the anti-doping agency, they normally come and talk to the athletes, inform them about the drugs and the rules, so that they will be able to create that awareness. So it's unfortunate if somebody is caught, nobody can play that he doesn't know about the rules.
Yeah.
So if somebody is caught, then it's unfortunate. And we will urge our athletes to follow the rules which have been set or which have been laid down, so that we can have our sports, we can have a clean sports, whereby we have a level playing field. Yeah.
Okay, you've mentioned that AK has held countless of seminars on, anti-doping measures and all that. And you did mention that the problem comes in to the issue of the whereabouts. But Is that an issue of discipline? Can you bring it down to being an issue of discipline? Because it is the protocol, yeah? And in these seminars, is it that they concentrate more on, urging them not to dope, that the rest of the issues, for example, the protocol is overlooked, or what goes on? Because, as you mentioned, it has been identified. That's the issue. What's the next step?
The next step is to create that awareness. We need to tell our athletes. Another scenario in Kenya, whereby I don't think it has been discussed. Some of our athletes, because of their training and all that, they are not the ones who are doing the whereabouts. It's being handled by their handlers, maybe a coach. Okay. A coach is the one who is supposed to feel the whereabouts, where the athlete is and all that. So if somebody fails to do that, you see, this thing is consistent. You cannot just be there and not feel the whereabouts. Yeah. It's very important. So we need to be able to curb this thing. We need to create that awareness to our athletes. They need to do it themselves, which is very important. And this determines their future. Mm-hmm. If you are banned for 1 year or 2 years, then where are you going to be? You'll never be able to catch up with the rest of the world. Because, for example, if you look at the results of our athletes after this COVID, you'll see that we will not be up there because of lacking competition and all that. Mm-hmm. So if you are banned for 1 year or 2 years, then it means your training goes down, everything goes down, your psyche, your everything. So it's important to follow the rules which have been set so that we'll be able to compete and also be clean, be looked as clean athletes in this world. Because after this doping issue, the Athletics Federation, the WADA, came up with the whereabouts and also this testing, which is done regularly, and it is synchronized to make sure that the athletes are tested in competition and outside competition. Mm-hmm. So it is important. Yeah. Okay. It's like part of it's like you missing your training. Mm-hmm. If you miss your training, how are you going to compete? Yeah. So it's very important. It's part and parcel of the normal life of an athlete.
And indeed, it's something that should be addressed, considering we had Coleman of the US 100 meters and 200 meters also caught in between that issue, the whereabout. So as you mentioned, it might be a disparity between the coaches if they're the ones dealing with the integrity unit, the athletic integrity unit. But now let's move forward. Hopefully, when the coronavirus subsides, really, when the rate of infection is low, when we can actually get back to sports, what should we be looking forward to?
We've been not training for quite some time. We've not been in competition for quite some time. But I think the authority concerned, they need to look into this thing deeply. Mm-hmm. For example, in Europe, now you've seen the footballers are now doing the football. It's being done all over the world. And it's only to follow the protocols. Mm-hmm. If we'll be able to follow the protocols, it's unfortunate that we are still not doing anything at the moment, but we are still awaiting our Ministry of Sports, because a few weeks ago, the Federation was asked all the affiliates to forward what they think should be done so that we'll be able to be in this new normal. And the same was forwarded to the ministry. So we are waiting for the experts to tell us what we are supposed to do so that we go back to training. Because if we can't be training, mm-hmm. I'm sorry to say this, but if we don't train, mm-hmm. and if we can't compete, then going to Olympics 2021 is going to be difficult for us. Mm-hmm. Because if you look at other countries, they're still training. People are training there, but they are following the guidelines of their Ministry of Health. Mm-hmm. And that is what also we need to do it. We need to have people who are bold, who will be able to come up with these things and tell the athletes what we are supposed to do so that we can now go back to the sports that we love, and we train our athletes to be ready for the major events which are coming. For example, now we have the Kip Keino Classic, which is coming in September 26. Mm-hmm. Next year we have the World Under 20, which will be in around July there. So we need to prepare our athletes, and it is important. So we ask, and we ask the ministry to quickly look into what has been provided by the federations, and then come up with something that will be able to guide us. Yeah.
Okay, now your parting shot, as of course we wind up the interview, parting shot in regards to Monaco, and well, after Monaco we're heading to England, Stockholm, Lausanne, Brussels. Maybe just a bit on that.
Yeah, for us to go back into competition, this is important for us, and we are happy because some of our top athletes who are our ambassadors are going into this event, and we hope that they will be able to match up with the rest of the world. This is important to us, and also we would like we will wish our athletes all the best in Monaco and also in other Diamond League events that they will be participating in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now for the viewers sending their feedback via our platforms, that is on Facebook at KBC Channel 1 and on Twitter likewise, KBC Channel 1. Well, we sure do hope that your questions on athletics have all been answered. Well, don't go too far as we'll be back in a short moment.